Hello, everybody. I have just spent the first 20 minutes of our time together with Mr. Jared Kahn gabbing about, 30-something-year-old soccer dad stuff that really has nothing to do with the reason for him being on our podcast today. So I am very excited to actually talk with Jared, the co-founder of Knox Soccer Academy, based right here in Knoxville, a youth training and development program for soccer players. I've got a bunch of questions for him, but before we get started, let me just say hello to you, Jared. How are you doing on this beautiful Monday evening in April?
Hey, Brian. Doing well. Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk with you today.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like we're actually not that far away from each other in Knoxville right now. I live in Halls. I married a Halls girl, and
Halls has it. You knew this, but Halls has it.
I knew it. Actually, Haley told me that Halls had it and lost it until we came back, until she made her prodigal return a year and a half ago when we bought a house up here. And what's funny is, I would make fun of Halls a lot, being from New Jersey, being from, an Argentinian family. And Haley would say, actually, Halls is more diverse than you think. My friend Megan married a Pakistani guy. And I was like, what in the world? And then I actually met that friend playing in a KMSL over 30 league soccer game 5 years ago. And then it turns out that that's your wife and you're the Pakistani guy, Jared.
And so funny enough, me and my wife, we currently live in Powell now, which is a little rival to Halls over there.
That's a no-no. That's a no-no.
A little battle of Emory Road, if you know, you know.
Oh, man. Well, we purposely, I had a lot of people tell us that we should look for a house in Powell because it was like, younger and hipper. And I was like, look, if I'm marrying into a Halls family, we're staying Red Devils all the way. We're not mixing bloodlines here,
Just enjoy those crossroads.
Yeah, for real. So, Jared, before we get started, since we are talking about youth soccer, I got to ask you, what is your earliest memory of winning a trophy? Assuming that you were on a team that actually won stuff, do you have a cherished memory of being a little boy in an oversized jersey, hoisting a trophy up in the air that is probably collecting dust in your parents' basement or attic right now?
Yeah, I don't know if I got to enjoy quite a moment like that, really, to be honest. Probably just winning one of those AYSO trophies when I was 4 or 5. Not super exciting, but still got it.
Yeah, man. So I'm from Bayonne, New Jersey. We didn't have AYSO. We had BYSA, which was just the Bayonne Youth Soccer Association. They ran rec leagues, and what's funny is my father's from Argentina. He played competitive soccer. He played for the youth academy of Newell's Old Boys, which is the club that Messi played for as a young boy, club of Marcelo Bielsa, club of Mauricio Pochettino, Tata Martino, all these legends, Gabriel Heinze. And my dad played up until, I guess it would have been like U16s, U17s, and eventually moves to America. And him and I would play soccer all the time since I was a little boy, but he would not sign me up for a soccer league. He would let me train with teams, but he would not let me play. And he was just like, soccer is too different in America. Like we're not dealing with the politics and all that. It's very different. And
it's funny you say that. I'm kind of in the same boat with my kids.
Really? Well, I want to explore that in a little bit as we get to talking about your academy. But maybe you'll find some empathy with my dad. My dad said that, and I begged him. I said, Dad, please, all I want to do is play soccer. All I want to do is become like Batistuta. All I want to do is play for the Argentinian national team. And finally, he signed me up. I played in the BYSA Rec League. And, after the first game, the travel soccer coach came over and was like, dude, what is going on with this guy? Like, we got to sign this guy up. And so within 2 games of playing, I was on playing club soccer, something my dad absolutely did not want. And and we actually wound up winning. Like I think our travel soccer team was in like the third division at the time, like the C division of the New Jersey State League. And the other teams were so poor that we would regularly win games like 7 or 8-0, and the referee would tell us to stop scoring. And so that first year we won a trophy that's still sitting in like my parents' house in New Jersey. It's on like a shelf in my old bedroom. It's all dusty. And of course, we went up to the B division right after that and got like walloped every single game. It was terrible. But I still have fond memories of that soccer trophy. As we, get started, I want to get to know a little bit about you, but I also want to hear something about Knox Soccer Academy, which is something that showed up in my Instagram account one day. I was like, oh my goodness, what is this that this guy Jared runs with his brother Darius here in Knoxville? So can you tell us about Knox Soccer Academy?
Yeah, so we run Knox Soccer Academy. It's a local private soccer academy here in Knoxville. We offer elite soccer training for soccer players that are wanting to improve and take their game to the next level. We offer a variety of training, including private training, group training, and a recreational homeschool soccer program. But really, it's mostly about just helping players reach their goals. And we work with just recreational soccer players. We work with, players that are playing ECNL as well as college players. But ultimately, getting better and improving and why you're training is all about, or should be about, a reason, right? And that's kind of the first thing I always ask parents and players at our evaluation is, what's the goal? What are you hoping to get out of this? What can I do to help? Because everyone says they want to get better at shooting or they want to get better at dribbling. But the reason you want to get better at those things is maybe you want to make it to the A team, or maybe you're not starting and you just want to get more playing time. And so what's so fulfilling about this and why I enjoy doing it so much is getting to help players and kids reach their goals, no matter how big or small they are, getting them to understand that it is possible, that if they want something, they can have it, but there's a price to pay. And the biggest thing is, do you know what you want? And are you willing to do what you know you need to do, but you probably don't want to do? And if you can do that, you'll be successful at whatever you want to do in life, whether it's soccer, being an engineer, a doctor, be a great mother, father, husband, wife. That's what it's all about.
All right, man. So obviously you got to teaching these lessons by at some point learning them or absorbing them. I know that your brother Darius, in his profile on the Knox Soccer Academy website, it says he played college soccer at the University of the Cumberlands. I know of Darius through family because I have some family who's trained under him, and I think has been brutalized by some of his bodybuilding workouts in the past. But I know your father is from Pakistan. He was a lifter, strong, muscular dude. You guys grew up here in Halls to a family that's been in Knoxville for generations. What's your story with the beautiful game? Like, how did you find soccer, and what was your trajectory in the game?
Yeah. And if anybody remembers Musclemate Gym in Fountain City, if you know where the commercial bank is across from the Fountain City Park, that's where my dad used to run a bodybuilding gym there. So it's just kind of been in the family. But basically, grew up, started playing soccer when I was about 4 or 5. Dad's from Pakistan, so he was always watching soccer. He played, growing up, played semi-pro, tried to make it professionally over in Asia, and somehow ended up over here. Basically grew up playing AYSO, never played club, really just spending a lot of time with my dad and brother in the backyard is where I grew a love for soccer. The competition between me and my brother was probably what made it the most fun. Beating him is worth 1,000 wins. So, and then, just played middle school soccer at Halls, played high school soccer at Halls. And that's pretty much the end of my soccer playing experience. So I definitely wouldn't say I played at a very high level. Um, but what I think is I maintained a love for the game. So when I went to college at MTSU, I they had a rec center and they had an indoor soccer field there. A lot of kids would just show up and we'd play pickup games. I would do that all the time. Played in an adult league in Smyrna, Tennessee, while I was in college down there. And then basically got a job at a gymnastics gym in college. So I did competitive gymnastics when I was a kid as well, and then got a coaching job in college doing that. Kind of fell in love with coaching doing that, but didn't really feel like I understood gymnastics quite as well as I did with soccer.
So you had soccer, gymnastics. I always associated Pakistani people not just with cricket, but also with wrestling. And I love wrestling. I want my kids to do wrestling and soccer. Haley, she doesn't want them to do wrestling because she hates cauliflower ear. She wants them to do soccer and basketball. Did you guys have exposure to any other sports besides soccer and gymnastics growing up?
Yeah, so we played baseball a lot growing up. Played backyard football a lot. Tried basketball. I mean, really, we played all the sports growing up. So our dad didn't. Basically, we would just go in the backyard. We'd kick the soccer ball around for 20 minutes. Then we'd pick up the baseball gloves and the baseball and throw that around for 20 minutes. And then we'd throw the football around for 20 minutes. Basically, just do it all over again. So just sports in general is what I love. I like playing all the sports, really. Any sport's fun. Just competing against other athletes, is fun.
Oh, I hear that, man. I had a late blooming CrossFit interest. I actually did kickboxing for a few years, and I loved that, MMA and kickboxing. Then I did CrossFit, and then I was playing rec league soccer all these years. That's how I met Haley, and I realized that like CrossFit fitness is not the same as soccer fitness at all. Because I would go and like crush a workout, and then even when I was training my girls, I coached at Emerald Youth Foundation, their soccer club, back when the girls director and boys director of One Knoxville, Derek Long and Junior Santos, they were both the director and assistant director there. So I coached under them, and I would just get in, hop into sessions with my high school age girls, and I was like, oh my god, like I can back squat 400 pounds, but I could not do this. So, but what I like that you said is how you didn't have access to club soccer. You were playing in the backyard. That developed your passion. I think it's so important to have that kind of rooted love for the game that goes beyond just competition. Because I think one of the things that shocked me when I moved from New Jersey, from a land of immigrants, where we played soccer in the park, on dirt fields I called it the Field of Dreams. And we did that for years. And it was all these construction workers and office workers and people from all over the world that played. And then I moved down here and I was doing some reporting. I was covering Lady Ball soccer. And I talked to these high level players, and they didn't even like soccer. Like they didn't watch soccer. They didn't have any people that they idolized. Like they were just like, oh yeah, I just played it. I just always played soccer. And so that's what I do now. And I was like, what? And they played at a high level. They all played elite club soccer, but they didn't have that, passion for the game that extended beyond practice time and game time. They weren't kicking the ball against the garage door 1,000 times or juggling it in the driveway, until their mom screamed for them to come inside because it was dark and the lightning bugs were out. So it sounds like we have
definitely
we have
I hear parents all the time. They'll ask us, can you get my kid to practice at home more? And it's like, we didn't do it because we had to. We liked spending our time that way. It wasn't a chore. It wasn't go outside and get this done. So this, it was just, hey, what do we want to do? Oh, let's go play soccer because I'd rather spend my time that way than pretty much any way else. And that's basically why I do what I do now, is because I'd rather spend my time doing this than pretty much anything else. And so, it doesn't matter what club you play for. it doesn't matter what level you play at. Ultimately, it's about spending time doing it. Because no matter what you do, whether it's playing the piano, soccer, becoming a good, engineer, you have to spend a lot of time to get really good at it. And, I think it's all about making yourself as valuable as you can be as an adult in the marketplace. And to be valuable, you have to get really good at what you do. And that means you have to spend a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, man. I think it's, you hear two things that came to my mind as you were talking. One, the 10,000 hours rule of, being able to put in that time to get excellent at anything. And then I think it was Bill Shankly, a former Scottish player, manager who played for Liverpool, who are the eternal arch rivals of my, European team, Everton. And I think Shankly said that soccer is the most important, unimportant thing in the world. And I couldn't agree more.
100%.
So I want to talk about the academy and what you do because, I've been on the Facebook account, I've been on the Instagram account, and I've watched the videos of you training some of your own kids and other kids in the area. And the facility itself is just top notch. And some of the drills that you're running these kids through are, super, super impressive. So we'll get to that. But first, thank
you so much.
As a 35-year-old dad of 3 who is trying to figure out how to, live his life and provide for his family and work his day job, but then also pursue passions like the Knox Soccer Podcast and like a writing career and all this other stuff. I was reading your bio. It says that you were in medical sales for a while. Pandemic hit. You lost your job. You did a couple of other things for a few years. And then out of the blue, you pop up with Knox Soccer Academy. So how did that all happen? How did you go from, working in medical sales to then starting this like dream career as a soccer business owner and soccer trainer?
Yeah, it sounds pretty sweet when you put it like that. It's been tough. But, basically when COVID happened, I got laid off from a medical sales job. Basically cycled through 3 more sales jobs within probably 12 months, hit pretty much rock bottom in my life. And basically just got to the point where I was sitting there thinking, I really have nothing. So I have nothing to lose. If I'm going to have nothing, I might as well do what I want and have nothing, because right now I'm doing what I don't want and I have nothing. And so I think we all, within thinking about it for 2 seconds, know what we've always wanted to do. I think most of us just in that 3rd or 4th second, a second voice comes in and we're like, oh yeah, but it's too late now. It's over. You missed your chance. You can't do it. There's no way. And so basically I just really thought about what I wanted my day-to-day life to look like. And when I really thought about what I would like to do if I had all the money and I didn't need money anymore, it would be soccer and coaching. And so basically my wife was supporting us with her custom furniture business, and I was working a really crummy sales job, and I just emailed all the local clubs around this area and asked, hey, I'm looking to start coaching soccer. Is there any way I can get a chance? And basically Blunt United Soccer Club out in Maryville was the only club that emailed me back. TJ McCallum out there still is out there. Great guy. Basically gave me a shot, just talked to me and was like, yeah, come on. So got to start coaching out there, started with the 6 and 7 year olds in their junior academy. Within a couple of months, basically while I'm doing that, so I'm making $16 an hour at my crummy sales job. And then I'm starting to get paid basically 30 to 40 bucks a practice at Blunt United. And so I thought, man, this is pretty good. I'm obviously not getting a lot of hours, so it's not that much money total, but I thought, hey, how cool would this be if I could coach soccer and make a great living? And so basically I coached for a couple months there, and I have a mom that comes up to me after practice and basically asks if I'll do some private training with her son, who's looking to try out for the high school team. And so start with him. After that, now she wants her daughter to get some private training from me. After that, another girl on the team I coach wants some private training. And then, slowly word of mouth is starting to get around. I'm starting to get a couple more. And then, I finally just kind of get enough kids that I look at my situation and I'm like, I think there's an opportunity here, because there's not a lot of people that do this in this area. And, basically everyone's telling me I'm really good at this. And so I basically go to my wife, Megan, and tell her, hey, I think this is what I want to do. I want to try to make this my full-time business and just do soccer. And thankfully I have the best and most supportive wife ever. And she goes for it. And so I basically make a video of me training my daughter. Turned out to be one of the best videos I've ever made. And I think what's cool about that to me looking back is I kept sitting there going back and forth of, you look at all these videos on social media of trainings and they're like, oh man, they're doing these obstacle courses. They're doing they've got 35 cones, 16 poles. This is the most intricate training you've ever seen in your life. And I think you sit there well, there's no way I can make I don't have any players really, you know what I mean? I can't make a video. But then I just have to basically get to the point where it's it's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to put something out there and then see what happens. And so take a video of me training my daughter. Turns out to be one of the best videos I ever made. And now I'm starting to get a lot more messages on social media. And, everything I had done before this, I think, is understated in the sense of, I went to business school in college. All my experience has been in sales. So I know how to sell. I know how to get customers. I've ran a couple businesses before and failed. And I've built a couple websites before and then not had to use them. And I just built a website for our Knox Soccer Academy. It's on there now, knoxsocceracademy.com. And it's just kind of, the coaching, the gymnastics in college. And so really, I think just all the experience I had before this is kind of the right place at the right time. It just kind of all worked out. I feel like, it happened at the right time. And so basically I'm working out, basically running my trainings out in Maryville at Blunt United, end up not coaching there anymore. And so basically need a new area to train at. And so I reach out to my brother. He's been running an athletic development company here in Knoxville at our current facility. And so after talking with him, we decide to partner together and just try to pursue this full time together. And so, it's really worked out to be getting laid off from that job really turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't necessarily think it's because I got laid off. I think it's because what I decided to do because it happened to me. And I think that's what I always try to teach our kids and players is sometimes the worst things that happen to you can turn out to be the best things if you just use it the right way and just turn that negative into a positive. The other thing that nobody will have seen is I've basically worked every weekend for the last almost 3 years. I work 6 to 7 days a week. I do the trainings, do the social media. I pretty much work all day, every day, but I enjoy it. And it's more of a lifestyle for me is I'm not trying to work so that I don't have to work. I'm working because I enjoy doing this. It's still hard work, but you know what I mean? It's, I enjoy my day to day and getting to do this, but I'm definitely ready for a vacation.
I hear that. Actually, my wife and I just spoke with my boss today about, she told me, she's like, we need a beach vacation, really bad.
Yeah.
And so we're getting ready. dude, I was really kind of vibing with what you were saying about the intimidation factor when you start to look online at what other people are doing. And I think our generation talks so much about imposter syndrome, especially because everything is online. Like we can artificialize our lives to, the 100th percentile by just creating personas on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And I think the beauty of soccer, being from an Argentinian family, growing up playing on the street and, in dirt fields, fields that look worse than Victor Ashe's field looks right now. And I'm just like, you learn to love the game. And I'm like, I talked to my dad who, was nearly at the professional level. And he's like, we never did any of these silly drills that, your soccer club would hire they'd hire these Irish trainers to come in to train you. And like, we never did any of that nonsense. We just played the game. And in Argentina, you have the World Cup winning coach, Lionel Scaloni, who he lives in Spain. His kids train in Spain. And he's like, all my kids are doing are drills and they're 6 or 7. They need to learn to love the game. They just got to play. They got to play soccer and they got to understand the basics of soccer. No, out of bounds, this or that, standing in lines. And so much of what you see is that, and it looks sexy. And I think parents who don't really know the game, they love to see it because it's like, oh, yeah, that coach is working. That trainer is working because they're making my kid do this and that. And I'm just like, sometimes.
Well, the funny thing is no, you're spot on is they could do all this stuff at home, but you can't get them to do it at home. You know what I mean? Like I can tell you the drills to do, but you can't get your kids to do it in the way that I'm going to get them to do it. You know what I mean? And so that's why coaching, I don't think is necessary. There's no best drill and there's no best trainer in a sense. I think, you just need to be able to effectively communicate, be able to build a relationship with players so that number one, they like you, but number two, you can push them. And I think most coaches don't do a very good job of that. Is a lot of them push really hard, but those kids don't really like them. And so it's like a teacher that you don't like. You know what I mean? You're not going to do anything they say. But those teachers you had in school that, I had a few, Miss Southern, shout out Hall's English. She would do anything for me, so I would do anything for her. And I think just it's like working out. One kid can do 10 squats. Another kid can do 10 squats. But this kid over here is going to get 10 times more out of it because he did it intensely. He focused on the details and he really challenged himself. If he can do 100 and it's easy, he's putting 150 on, and I think the drills and stuff like that is only 25 to 50% of it. I think the other 25 to 50% is, teaching kids the proper mindset. And then also just mentoring them and getting them to understand how to train.
I hear that. I think a lot of it, what you're hitting on is like facilitation. You're facilitating their ability to learn and fall in love with the game, as opposed to like dictatorially telling them like these are all the steps you must do. And
I just saw a great quote from Pep Guardiola. Is at his level, he says, "I'm not teaching players anything." As a coach in my level, really all I'm doing is maintaining and setting the standards. And I guess the one other thing I wanted to kind of say with just my journey getting to Knox Soccer Academy is, if I could inspire and give anyone some hope, my soccer resume, look at it. It's not impressive. And if someone with as unimpressive as my soccer resume is can turn around and pursue their passion of soccer and become a professional soccer trainer and open up their own soccer academy, then anyone can. Because I think that's one of the biggest challenges I had as well of getting started doing this is, well, I didn't play in college and I didn't play professionally. So why is anyone going to come train with me? But I think what you find is sometimes the best players are the worst coaches. And I don't think you necessarily have to be a great player to be a great coach, because most of it's about communicating and how well you can communicate and connect with players. So anybody out there can do what they want and have what they want, even if you haven't necessarily achieved much yet.
I hear that totally. As somebody who also has an unimpressive resume but loves the game and coach, and I was out tonight at Beard and Adaptives Fields where one Knoxville's Monsters program, that's where they practice. So I have a 2-year-old who plays in the program, and then I've got a 4-year-old. And my daughter has had this like transformation over the past 2 months, where before, she was like really shy. It was really hard to get her to do anything. I think she already feels the pressure of being the daughter of 2 soccer players who, I used to joke that I joked about it, even though it's true, that I had like the Richard Williams plan, that the father of Serena and Venus Williams. Like I was like, I've got the path to pro in my head. I'm not letting any Englishman anywhere near my kids. I already know what they've got to do in order to get to the professional level. Alba had a poster of Alex Morgan hanging on her wall before she was born, and today she was just awesome to watch out there. She scored a couple of goals, which she was so proud of. I haven't been able to make the last couple of ones because of work, and so I got to go today, and that was so beautiful. But I feel like we could talk about
that's
this.
Awesome.
I feel like we could talk about this all day long. I've still got a bunch of questions for you, and I know our listeners, they are patient and they love any conversations that happen here at the Knox Soccer Podcast. But I'm going to try to be efficient with the rest of our time. I want to talk about the programs that you offer. I was in the barbershop 3 weeks ago with Jerry Daughtry, Jerry's Barbershop. Shout out to them in Fountain City, the best barber in town. And his daughters both played at Gibbs. One of them is playing at Johnson University right now. And I was mentioning that I had this podcast interview coming up with Jared Kahn, and he said, "Oh, my daughter goes and trains with them. She's got a couple of things that she needs to work on." The Gibbs coaches have encouraged the girls to go over and get some supplemental training, and I was like, that's really cool. And I've seen, for somebody who's saying, I've not got a very impressive resume, just looking at the facility and the drills and the quality of the kids who are training there. If I were willing to spend money on developing my kid's soccer career, I'd be like, let me get an advanced spot, in the Con Soccer Academy. So what are you guys offering?
Thank you.
Who are the kids that are going to you? Are they high school kids, middle school kids?
Yeah, so we're really, we really try hard to be neutral to all schools and clubs. First off, we support everyone in a mission to improve the local soccer players. But we're really fortunate. We've got players coming from Granger County, Morristown, all the way to Sweetwater and Kingston. So probably about an hour radius of here, of the Knoxville area. We do all the way as young as 5 in our homeschool program. And then we've worked all the way up to college players. So, I would say that's one of the unique things about us is we can work with someone that's at the very beginning, or we can work with someone who is, on that elite level. And I think what I've found is when someone already knows how to kick the ball and dribble the ball and, do the technical things, running them through a drill is not very difficult. But to teach a new player to soccer how to kick the ball properly, how to dribble the ball properly is very challenging. But I think we do a really good job of developing even the most beginner players. And
I know you said you live in Powell. The program, the radius is really wide. Where is your training facility?
So we are right next to Louis Spaghetti on Broadway. So really close to Fountain City area, about 5 minutes from the Emerald Fields downtown.
All right. Yeah, we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. I love Louis. That's definitely a local favorite.
I do too.
It's a different type of spaghetti, a little spicy. But yeah, people either love it or hate it. There's no in between.
Oh, yeah. I am a fan. Haley and I have actually taken a date night to go to Louis when we couldn't figure out anywhere else to go. But yeah, you are in an ideal location right there off
right off the
640.
interstate.
And the facility itself is beautiful. So you've got what people will immediately notice is it's a turf facility. Most of the fields are turf now. We're not going to get into turf versus natural grass, but one thing that's so important about turf is having those beads equally distributed all across the field, having it be manicured and maintained. And you've got some videos up there of you and Darius, taking care of everything. Can you tell me about the facility, how you came about it, and how you guys, kind of maintain and operate it?
When making your dreams happen and stuff like that takes a lot of sacrifices. So we've basically installed and put everything in there ourselves. It's been a lot of hard work. We've had to get creative, but basically, yeah, everything's turf. It's all inside, indoors. One of my favorite parts is you don't have to chase balls when shooting. I know when I was out there on a grass field, 15 minutes of the training is just going to chase all the balls that are 30 yards behind the goals. We have bathrooms, so that's really nice. And it's all climate controlled. So it's nice not having to worry about, it getting dark early or when it rains or snows outside. But I definitely have trained outside when it was snowing to make this possible, as well as when it was 95 degrees outside and sunny. And I'd spend 8 hours in a row out there training. So just got to do what it takes to make it happen.
That's awesome, man. I'm gonna have to come by there soon to check it out, because the way you have the goals set up, and you have players drilling against the wall, and you're even running small-sided games in there. So it's not a small space. It's a large enough space to really do everything that you need to do besides, full field soccer, corner kick drills or anything like that. So I would love to see it with my own eyeballs.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Just let me know when you want to come, and we'll give you a VIP tour.
Ooh, okay. I like the sound of that. So a couple more questions for you before we get into our lightning round. I got to know, whenever I hear of anybody pursuing their dreams with their work, I'm a realist. My dad's a plumber, come from a super blue collar family. My dad always told me, dreams don't feed you. Stop being a dreamer. Your dreams are never going to put food on the table. And so, I'm like, okay, Knox Soccer Academy sounds too good to be true. So I got to ask, how do you balance the academy, your passion for soccer and for training kids, with the reality of operating a business and having a family, a wife and 3 kids?
Yeah. I think a lot of people look at a job as doing something so they don't have, going to a job and then leaving that job so they don't have to do it anymore now and go home and just relax. And for me, it was about making this a lifestyle, not doing something so that I don't have to do it anymore, but doing it because that's how I want to spend my time. And so for me, it's not necessarily trying to separate the business and family. I would say it's the opposite, maybe, of this is a real family business. As a father, I really want to teach my kids about running a business and becoming a business owner, because getting laid off just made me really realize that as an employee, you are totally disposable. The moment they don't need you, the moment you're going to start impacting their bottom line, all these companies, they'll just get rid of it. They don't care. And so I just, getting laid off made me feel worthless and like I didn't have any value. And what I love about doing this is I feel super valuable. I feel like I'm making a difference. And, whether I make a lot of money or not, I know that regardless, I will have impacted people doing this. And so I love knowing that I'm not replaceable with doing this. And so, just teaching my kids that the goal of getting older is not to just make a lot of money doing something you hate. It's about finding something that you really enjoy, that you're really good at, and that you can make a difference in, and that can provide a great lifestyle for your family. And I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I'm making a difference in a lot of kids' lives. It's cool to be born and raised here in this community. And it feels really cool to just be on the other side of, I remember when I was 12 and 13 and 18, I remember playing on the U.S. Cellular soccer fields out in West Knoxville, which I think it's been turned into a housing development now. I remember playing on the rifle range AYSO fields. I remember when those fields weren't even there. I remember picking up rocks on the dirt and then laying the grass seed down. And so just getting to be a part of the community now and kind of do my part of somebody at my age and my chapter in my life, making a difference here in the Knoxville community. That's what I want to teach my kids more than anything, that, making a difference is the most important thing.
Man, you're going to make me cry here, Jared. Like, oh man, dude. Oh gosh, that is a beautiful thing, especially thinking about the legacy and the examples that we leave for our children. And it's amazing how they pick up on things and observe us and memorize from a young age. And what's so weird is that one day they're going to be our age and they're going to be talking about what their dads did. And like, oh, I remember my dad did this, or my dad was always doing this, or yada, yada. And so thinking about that as we're living it is one of the unique challenges of parenthood, I think.
Definitely. And I hope it gives my kids, hope and just kind of allows them to dream bigger than I did and, see like what I'm doing. Like I didn't have an impressive resume. I didn't get to play super high level or competitive, but look what I was still able to do with it. So now you're getting all of this. Now, hopefully you can go out and make maybe even a bigger impact.
I want to give you an opportunity to shout out the business, give us all of the places where we can find you, your hours availability, and we're going to do that at the end. I'm also going to drop all those links in the show notes, but before we do, I've got a bunch of lightning round questions that my co-host Patty has concocted along with me to learn a little bit more about Jared Kahn. Are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready.
Okay. So a lot of positions on the soccer field. We can generally split them up to goalie, defense, offense. If you had to pick like one position, one part of the game that you would play for the rest of your life, which is it? Goalie, defense, offense?
Offense, no question.
All right. Are you an assist maker, a playmaker, a goal
Center
scorer?
attacking mid. I want the ball.
Oh, number 10. Exactly.
Just give me the ball.
Oh, I said that to my little 2-year-old's coach. They were trying to make these 2-year-olds like do like a layoff drill, like pass the lay it off, shoot it. And, until like couldn't figure it out because he's a 2-year-old boy, so his brain barely works. But like he like laid it off for her, and she was like, okay, I'll just shoot it. And I was like, see, I'm training him to be a number 10. We're not, he's going to be like 5'4". He's not going to be a center forward. So,
hey, they're all good.
Yes, of course. They're all, except for goalie. I did play goalie in a recreation. I used to beg my coach, Mr. Zero. He was my first soccer coach, Rec Soccer League in Bayonne, and I used to make the All-Star Classic every year. And I remember I used to beg him to play goalie. He said, "No, you're too valuable in defense." And so then in the All-Star game, they let me play goalie for the 10 minutes of the second half, and I got 2 goals scored against me in 45 seconds. And I was like, "Please take me out, please."
Definitely the hardest position on the field.
Yeah, I agree. Next question. So, you've coached boys and girls. You've coached primary school age, middle school age, high school age, college age. Who do you enjoy coaching the most?
So it's not an age or a skill level. It's attitude and effort. I love any kid that's got a great attitude and great effort. The hardest kids to train and coach are the ones with bad attitudes and bad effort. Doesn't matter if they're 5, doesn't matter if they're 18. They've got a bad attitude. It's not that fun. And if most players would realize that their attitude and their efforts, the 2 most important things, then they could really take their game to the next level. Because no matter how much talent you have, if you have a bad attitude and a bad effort, the moment you mess up or you get challenged, you're going to stop trying as hard. And those are the ones that you have to drag through the training.
All right, man, I hear that 100%. Okay. Next question. We know that soccer in America is famous for the halftime orange slice snack that the suburban soccer moms like to bring in their little plastic baggies. We've had a bunch of developments in the snack world since the orange slices were the most favorite treat in America. What's your favorite post-workout snack?
Banana all the way.
All right. And just a plain old banana.
Well, hopefully it's not old, not the black ones, but I'll take me a nice yellow banana.
Oh, I actually was in a conversation about this with some friends yesterday because Haley likes them green. Like Haley wants her bananas to look like a leaf
Nice and crisp
on a tree. Yeah. And, my daughter Alba will not eat it if it has any brown on it. Won't even touch it. She just threw out half of a banana in the garbage because it had a brown spot on it, which she calls a yucky spot. And
that sounds about right.
Yeah, and me, I'm like, I'll eat it as long as it's not too brown where it kind of, it's mushy, it tastes sour. Like I love bananas.
Yeah. My son today ate one bite of each strawberry, just like the end. You know what I mean? Just toss the rest of it away.
Dude, kids,
probably like 12 strawberries.
These kids, man, these kids. Okay, so we are in America, and we are a soccer podcast that tries to cover the beautiful game in every nook and cranny, every crevice. I am not personally a fan of the MLS unless Lionel Messi's playing. We are fans of one Knoxville SC, which plays in USL League One. Do you have a favorite American soccer team?
Yeah, I don't. I don't really watch American soccer, to be honest.
Fair. I try
why. To some just to be able to talk about it and relate with some people. You know what I mean? But you know what makes watching sports so fun is having favorite players and favorite teams. The quality of European soccer is so good. It's just when you can watch that, why would you watch? I just don't have enough time to watch both. You know what I mean? So I spend a lot of time watching La Liga. Real Madrid is my favorite team.
Yeah. Oh, Patty's
get ready for Champions League tomorrow.
Patty's gonna have to work at a barf sound. I used to actually. So I played a lot of FIFA in high school and college, and I had my gamer tag was 5-star killer 9 because I've always valued the underdog, and so I would love to pick Everton or I love La Liga too, and I really liked Rayo Vallecano, I guess is how you'd say it in American English, which is also a team based in Madrid, and Athletic Bilbao and all these teams that were like 4.5 star teams, and I would love to get a Real Madrid or a Chelsea, and I'd be like, I'm gonna beat you up, even though. I mean, just like in real life, it's very hard to beat Real Madrid. They've won 3 of the last 5 Champions Leagues,
It's kind of a bandwagon thing, but it's more like it's just really fun watching the superstar players. And those Real Madrid Barcelona games where basically all 22 players on the pitch are all superstars that everyone knows about. They're all famous. Those games are the most exciting. When you don't know but one player on the whole field, I feel like it's not as exciting. And so,
especially since I say this, I've got an Everton group chat. We were texting a bunch this weekend because Everton secured their Premier League survival. And then, of course, I watch any club.
Leicester got promoted.
Yeah, I did see that. They're back up. So I watch any club or league that has Argentinian players. And so, I love Inter Milan. I've watched Barcelona though. I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to La Liga. Germany, there's not a lot of Argentinians here, but Bayer Leverkusen has Ezequiel Rodriguez, and they're going to win the league this year. Their coach, former Real Madrid player.
What about
Xabi
I'm
Alonso.
a huge Di Maria fan.
Yeah, and Angel Di Maria. So I mentioned earlier, my dad played for Newell's Old Boys Academy. That's where Messi famously came out of. And Di Maria came out of my club's academy, Rosario Central, which is the rival team of Newell's Old Boys. So they're both in Rosario. And, actually I have some friends who live in a suburb outside of Rosario. They live in the same neighborhood as Di Maria's family. And so after Argentina won the Copa America, 2 days later, I get a text message from my friend, and a WhatsApp message from my friend. It's like her husband with Angel Di Maria,
awesome.
outside of their house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And that's what makes it so exciting and so fun. You know what I mean? I think I always ask players at our evaluation, who's your favorite player? Who's your favorite team? Do you watch any soccer on TV? And over 75% of them don't have a favorite player. they'll say Ronaldo or Messi because that's the only two they know. They don't have a favorite team. They don't really watch any soccer on TV. And, that's part of the fun. That's part of what makes you enjoy it, is the outside just playing, watching, having a favorite player, favorite team, going to a game, having some other friends that maybe they're rival fans. You know what I mean? We all get to experience that with Tennessee football here. And I think that's why, it's so big here, is because culturally, everybody gets into it. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So speaking of players, if there were any player dead or alive who you would sit down to have a Michelob Ultra or a Bud Light Lime with, on a cheat day, who is that person going to be?
Definitely Ronaldo.
Oh, you just made fun of kids for picking Ronaldo or Messi. Ronaldo,
I'm
Cristiano,
a big Ronaldo fan, though.
Cristiano or
Cristiano? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cristiano.
CR7,
And not totally just because of the soccer stuff, to be honest. As I've gotten older, I've always liked him, but as I've gotten older, like, I really like and respect, who he is as a father. He's a really big businessman. So I've always, I respect that, the discipline he has, how he carries himself, and how he is a role model, And I mean, he's so charismatic. I feel like could learn a lot from him.
Yeah, we're of two different philosophical schools, it seems. But I'm obviously a Messi. I used to say, Messi was like the little tyke who could, like, the person who you're like, how is that? Like, my wife always says, like, no offense to Messi, but, like, what woman finds him handsome? Like, there's no woman who, besides Antonella, who's like, oh gosh, give me some of Lionel Messi, But, like, Cristiano,
I'm taking Ronaldinho over Messi.
Oh man. Yeah, I do love Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho was a mentor to Messi at Barcelona. They played the same way. I like the freestyle South American game. I think that people always say, like, oh, well, Europe wins all the trophies. And I'm like, yeah, because all the players in Europe are South American. Like, you mentioned Real Madrid,
exactly.
like Vinicius Jr., dude. Like, I mean, come on, like, look at where the players are coming from.
100%.
So if you did sit down with Cristiano, CR7, what's the first question you ask him?
Man,
it's a hard one, right?
Stump me. I don't know. I would ask for some type of advice for sure. Maybe just, what would you say the most important thing to you is now? Or maybe just, over the years, I guess, what do you feel like the thing that's gotten you here, or what do you contribute your success to most? But I feel like I've watched so many of his videos, it's gonna be like, oh, it's from sacrifice and discipline.
Yeah, no, but you guys are sharing a Mick Ultra together on a cheat day, man. No, he's giving you an honest answer. He's not giving you the canned PR answer. No, I believe you're going to get something out of that conversation. I hope it happens. That's my dream.
That would be surreal.
My dream as a soccer fan and a journalist is to one day be able to interview Messi. That's one of my dreams, and to get to tell some of his story. But
we'll make it happen. What are we waiting on?
Yeah, I know.
On the pitch during a game,
or be like,
get a little.
Excuse me, Inter Miami, would you be willing to grant an interview request from the Knox Soccer Podcast in Knoxville, Tennessee?
Yeah.
Next question. There's been a lot of controversy in soccer, a lot of rule changes, a lot of discussion, especially with VAR. I've got a couple of options for this one, but if there were one rule of soccer that you could change or that you could create, which would it be?
I would definitely get rid of VAR.
Amen.
I mean, it's like all the sports, though. It doesn't matter if they're getting the decision right, because it's literally slowing the time down and just ruining all the emotional fun of it.
Yeah, we want to debate the wrongness of a human call all week.
Being able to manipulate the referee is one of the best parts about soccer, I think. Grabbing somebody's jersey a little bit, them not seeing it. You know what I mean? Maybe being offside a step, but hey, they didn't call it. You know what I mean? That's what makes it fun. Now you see players score and they like halfway celebrate, and then they just stand around for a minute and they're like, does it count? And then they'll say it counted, and then they're like, yeah, That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. They look like American soccer players. I always used to just like giggle because, American soccer kids don't really celebrate after they score. And in South America,
Right.
you're watching like the 7-year-old kids run off and jump into the stands, rip their
Well,
shirts
the
off.
refs here, they'll give them yellow cards. Any type of celebration here, refs give people yellow cards. That's half of the fun. You know what I mean? Doing a celebration. And, basically American soccer is just about winning. It's not about, and that's what I really love about South American football is like the Brazilian World Cup teams, all those players. They're not just playing to win. They're entertaining. And I guess that's why I always enjoyed watching Ronaldinho, Cristiano Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, Zinedine Zidane is just watch them play the game is super enjoyable. Like Bellingham. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter if he scores, just those moments in the game where they nutmeg somebody or, Neymar does a rainbow flick, something like that. Just entertaining, that's half of the reason why I watch. To see someone nutmeg sometimes is more exciting than just a trash goal.
100%. I used to say, so there's a legendary player in Argentina, Juan Román Riquelme. He played with Messi for some years. He left Europe in like the early 2010s, played the rest of his career in Argentina. But last year, after Argentina won the World Cup, they interviewed him and they said, what makes Messi special? And they're like, well, he plays like he's playing in the street. Messi's not a soccer player. He's a baller. Like there's a difference between a guy who knows how to play soccer and a guy who just loves just playing ball. Yeah, in Spanish, it's a stronger translation than that. But I love to see like the ballers, the guys who have fun and that are cheeky. And like, that's why I think, it's a shame that the soccer has become what it is now in like the era of like Cuti Romero, who plays for Tottenham Hotspur, the Argentinian defender, who like, he's the kind of guy who lived for like, he would have been great in the 80s, but now he's getting red cards all the time because he's a little too physical. He pulls that jersey a little hard. He talks a little smack, and there's no room for that kind of fun anymore. At the youth level, my daughter today was like pulling shirts, and getting her arm in front. We're teaching her, how to use her body. We're teaching her all this stuff because we figure, use it for as long as you can. Use that jersey pull and stuff like that. We want to teach you that way to play. In Argentina, the word is picardía, which is just basically cheekiness. And then eventually,
and it's like you call it the beautiful game. Is you've seen those videos on YouTube of when football becomes art.
Oh, of course. That's what I get. I get emotional and cry to.
To me, that's why I am not as big on maybe the English Premier League is it's about making beautiful football. Like that's what I like watching. I like watching when it's played beautifully, not necessarily them scoring and winning.
Agreed. I love.
Know what I mean? And I feel like that for me is how I coach and train. And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues with youth soccer is they're not trying to create art. They're not trying to play such a beautiful style of play that someone could watch them and just appreciate how good this playing of soccer is. They're just trying to kick it and score. And there's no possession. The way they play is just, to me, it's not fun to watch. And it doesn't matter if they win or lose. Like, I just don't really want to watch that style of football being played.
So this is going to lead into my last lightning round question, but I have to ask because this is a debate that happens in the Canaver household all the time. Who nutmegged who first, you or Megan?
Ooh, I definitely probably nutmegged her first.
Haley swears she nutmegged me first, and I'm like, I don't know where I have memories of like scoring beautiful goals. I have memories of like with a broken foot a couple of years ago. I broke my foot in the game. I took the ball off her foot during a play because she wouldn't pass it to me, and I scored. And apparently she turned around and told my teammate, she's like, if he doesn't score, he's in like huge trouble for taking that ball off my foot. She swears she megged me. She swears it.
Well, hey, we're not going to argue with them.
Okay, so then last question is, of all the coaches that are currently coaching, there's some very famous ones. You mentioned Pep Guardiola. I've been on the Knox Soccer Academy Instagram page. I've seen some quotes from Jose Mourinho as well. If you had one coach who you could take a master class from, you could sign up for free. It's not $10,000. It's $0. You get the show right up after your Bud Light session with Cristiano Ronaldo. Which coach are you taking a master class from?
I'm going Carlo Ancelotti.
All right. Former Everton manager, two-time Real Madrid manager.
This man
Champions League winner.
Knows how to win and knows how to manage. I feel like you just see all his players, his players love him. And what I love about him too is this is the style of coach I was when I was coaching club soccer is he don't say nothing on the sideline. He just raises that one eyebrow. And when I was coaching, I'm not saying a word on the sideline because when we're in the game, it's up to them. I can't make any of the decisions. They're the ones that have to. And I feel like he always does such a great job of tactically making changes in the game, and it always pays off. And he's won in so many different leagues.
What is very unique about him is that he almost became the manager of the Brazilian national team last year. There were a lot of rumors about him joining after the Real Madrid season wrapped up. They weren't sure if he would get a contract renewal. And ultimately, it didn't happen. But for an Italian, for any European to go coach in South America would be groundbreaking. That doesn't happen. Argentina is only coached by Argentinians. Brazil is only coached by Brazilians. All the other South American nations are coached by Argentinians too, or Uruguayans or whatever. But for an Italian to go and coach in Brazil, for that even to be a wish of the Brazilian people, is a testament, I think, to how iconic Ancelotti's career has been from player.
Yeah, and I think that shows how desperate the Brazilian national team is, in a sense. Their men's side is kind of not performed, super well as of late.
I don't want to talk smack because we got the Copa America coming up soon, and actually I spent way too much money on 4 tickets for me, Haley, and the 2 older kids to go to Atlanta and watch Argentina play their opening match against Canada. And so like
nice.
People are like, oh, Argentina's going to win for sure. And then it's like, dude, don't ever count out Brazil or Uruguay. So I'm taking my masterclass from Marcelo Bielsa, who's now coaching for Uruguay, and I'm like, Uruguay beat Argentina, 2-0, like a solid victory. So who knows?
If Javi Alonso keeps going, we might have to go get another class from him.
Oh, and he's staying at Bayer Leverkusen. He said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. So, man,
for one more year.
This has been a great conversation. It's gone way longer than I think I expected it to, but I'm happy about it. I hope our listeners are happy about it. Before we end, Jared, tell us where to find you. How, if people are listening and they want their kids to get connected, or if we've got a lot of teenage listeners as well, and they want to find out what Con Soccer Academy is about, how do they get connected to you?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks again for having me on, Brian. You can find us at our website, consocceracademy.com. That's KHAN socceracademy.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Con Soccer Academy, and also on Facebook at Con Soccer Academy. And my name is Jared Kahn. My brother is Darius, and we just really appreciate all the support that everyone has shown us so far. And we're really excited to keep growing. And, ultimately the goal is always going to be to help local soccer players here reach their goals, no matter how big or small.
I love that, man. Jared, thanks for joining me. We've had a great conversation. So thanks for giving me some of your evening. And I hope we get a chance to talk again. I hope our listeners have enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us on the Knox Soccer Podcast.
Hey, thanks again, Brian.